Hi, Mrs. Smith?
Hi.
I'm Margie Edguer. I'm going to be your social worker.
Okay.
So would you prefer to be called Mrs. Smith or Teresa? Or...
Please call me Terry.
Okay.
All my friends call me Terry. That's what I prefer.
Okay, great, Terry. So do you have any problems finding us here?
I did not. Actually, your directions were really good. So
okay.
That was helpful.
Great.
Thank you.
I'm glad. So I'll show you the water fountain and the bathroom on the way back to my office. We'll go back and we'll talk back there. It's a little more private.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, Terry, I'm really glad that we're going to get a chance to talk a little bit more about your concerns and what you'd like to have be different in your life. But before we get to that, I want to tell you a little bit more about how things work here at this agency.
Okay, good.
I know I showed you where the bathrooms were and the water fountain on the way in, and I know that you talked to somebody down in billing, but I just want to kind of go over everything with you. So this is going to be a little bit different than most of the times when we meet, because I'm going to be trying to give you a lot of information today, which is a little bit different. Okay?
Okay.
If you have questions at any point or something doesn't make sense, just let me know.
Okay.
And you've got a copy of a lot of what I'm saying so that if you have questions later, you can kind of ask me later.
Great.
All right?
Thank you.
Okay. So I just wanted to let you know that here at this agency, you're coming in and we have a number of different departments, but this is the adult counseling department.
Okay.
And so we work with people about a number of different kinds of concerns, goals that are of interest to them, things that they're concerned about. A lot of times it's things like emotional and mental health, or stress management, or how they're coping with things, or relationship problems. So it's a range of things. And we usually see people once a week for 50 minutes for a few months.
Okay.
And work on what they're interested in working on.
Okay.
I am an licensed independent social worker, and that means that I have specialized training in a lot of different areas, and so hopefully those will be of use and they'll be helpful to the work we're doing together.
Okay, great.
So as far as I know, the billing person went over all the financial stuff, but if there are any problems with any of the financial aspects, with any part of paying for services, remember that you should call them and talk about that. Okay.
Not you. I should let them know.
Let them know, and they'll kind of talk you through it and try to figure out how to problem solve if there's a concern. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you ever need to cancel an appointment, so let's say something's come up, you're not going to be able to make it, you just need to call downstairs and let the front desk know that you're not going to be able to make the appointment before the appointment time. Otherwise, you'll be charged for the appointment.
Okay.
And I don't want that to happen. And then they'll give me a message that you needed to cancel, and then we'll talk and reschedule the appointment.
Could I just text you and let you know?
Well, we don't. The agency really doesn't like us to be texting with people. And so, no, we don't text people, but I have, and so I have a phone line, and it's on the card I gave you.
Right.
And so if you ever need to call in between appointments, you can feel free to call. If I'm not free, you can leave me a message. And I will call you back, and hopefully we can talk things through at that point. If it's ever an emergency, and I was going to talk about this a little later, but let me just reassure you here. If there's an emergency and you can't reach me, you can call the hotline. If it's after hours, then the hotline number is on the card I gave you. So yeah, just call, and people are going to be there to kind of talk you through things if you need to talk.
Okay.
All right?
All right. That's helpful.
Okay. Just to kind of talk a little bit more about kind of how things work. In our sessions, the things we talk about are private, that they stay between the two of us with some exceptions. So one of the big exceptions has to do with safety. So if there is a concern that you're feeling suicidal, or there's some threat about harm to other people or homicide, or if there's some child abuse or elder abuse going on, those are things where I would need to talk with someone else to make sure that everybody stays safe. So that would be an exception to when things stay private between the two of us. The other exceptions are like if there was a court order or a subpoena about the records, then that would be something where we'd have to comply and kind of go and do that. Or if you signed a release of information, because sometimes people have a medical doctor that they're working with that they'd like me to talk to coordinate services because of some concerns. So, but you would sign a release of information at that point. And so you would know exactly who I was talking to and kind of the kinds of information that I would be sharing.
Okay.
So that's all stuff that you would make the call on.
Okay.
And then the other piece is that I talk with my supervisor about the people I work with to make sure that I'm giving them the best services and that they're getting the best kind of interventions that are going to be most helpful for them.
Okay.
So that's true in the field in general, that we just want to make sure that people are getting the best services. But it's about the kind of work that I'm doing with people and making sure that their needs are being met.
Do I need to talk to that person?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm glad you asked that. No, you don't need to talk to her. It's just me kind of saying, here are the problems that we're working on, and kind of, is this the right way to be approaching this?
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And then, so that leads me into the idea of your rights as a client, that you have a number of rights, which include that things stay private between the two of us. It's called confidentiality on the paper I gave you. But that you also have the right to make the decisions about the work we're doing together. So if you decide that something's not particularly helpful, you can say, I don't want to do this kind of work. This isn't working well. You should know what the options are.
Okay.
And I'll present those to you. And whatever plan and whatever goals we set are based on what you say and what you want to accomplish here.
Okay.
It's not about me telling you what to do, but this is a partnership about what you're wanting to work on and what you want to see be different by coming here.
I like that idea. Okay.
All right. And then also, as you'll notice today, that I'll be doing a lot of note-taking. This is not typically the way things go. I normally am not taking as many notes as I will be today because this is kind of trying to gather information. But you have a right to read my notes at any point in time. The file is yours, so you can read it, and you just need to let me know that you'd like to read over what I've written.
Wow. Okay.
And then additionally, your rights have to do with knowing what options there are for treatment and being able to withdraw your consent at any point in time if you change your mind about it.
Okay.
All right.
Can't imagine that happening, but okay.
I would hope not. But sometimes something comes up and it feels like we're going in the wrong direction, or maybe that's not particularly helpful. So, it's good to just know that you've got those rights. And then additionally, if things are not working, we'll try to figure out what else might be helpful.
Okay.
So we might look at support groups here at the agency that we offer, or we might look at doing a referral to another agency or some other place that might be more helpful for you, someone else doing different kinds of work.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that if that comes up, but I will help to identify that and facilitate those connections if that's something that would be helpful. So do you have any questions about confidentiality?
Actually, I do. I really have a big question about confidentiality. This is really important that it stays between you and I. This is a really sensitive issue.
Okay.
I don't want my boss having any information about this. What if he calls you?
Okay. Well, if anybody calls me and asks about you, if I don't have a release of information to talk to them, I will basically say that I don't know. I will say I don't know that person, or that there's nothing I can share.
Okay. He's a pretty tough guy.
That's okay. Because I'm not sure how he would get the information to call me, but if he were to call me, like if he saw the card in your purse or something and called, I would basically say, anyone who comes here has confidentiality and they have privacy about coming here, and so I can't even verify whether they come here or not.
Okay.
Really?
I'm going to trust you with that, but
yes, because I know that
sure.
I know this is important to people. I know that they need to feel like they can come here, and that it stays between the two of us, and that it's not something other people are going to know about or talk about.
Okay.
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 But yeah, let me reassure you, if you ever have concerns again, just let me know.
Okay, I will.
Okay?
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if we talk a little bit more about what is bringing you in today?
Okay.